mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, helas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitingin. Luman ang araw ng walhaging pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Hello everyone, join us as we unfold and to you the continuous improvement process also known as CI. I am Cheryl Ruth Ducosin Bacolod, teaching in Sison Elementary School, East Maitum District, Sison Maitum, Sarangani Province. Join me as I discuss you about the first phase in CI journey, the assess phase. This is the journey of the current school as it targets to undergo change for a better and improved one, the desired school. But first, let us know what is continuous improvement. Continuous improvement, CI, is a methodology which continually assesses, analyzes, and acts on the improvement of the key processes, focusing on both the customer's needs and desired performance of DepEd. The objectives is describe the continuous improvement program. Next, analyze how the CIP helped the pilot schools attain desired school and learning outcomes. And last, apply the principle of CIP to improving school processes. What is quality? General, degree of customer satisfaction, ISO 9001 and 2015, totality of characteristics of an entity to satisfy state and implied needs. Total quality management, or we call it TQM, is philosophy. It is not just a project. It is achieved through continuous improvement. A comprehensive and fundamental role or belief for leading and operating an organization aimed at continually improving performance over the long term by focusing on customers while addressing the needs of all stakeholders. Basic dimensions of quality in education, UNICEF 2000. Continuous improvement toward attainment of desired learning outcomes is important. If we are able to help even just one person to finish school, that person will already have a greater chance of improving the lives of the family they were born with and the family they will make. Given that we are a primarily agricultural country, we should be able to create educational institutions that succeed in rural areas as well. We do not need to mimic metropolitan areas. Let us be a benchmark for other developing countries. We do not always have to look to the West. Next is healthy, well-nourished learners, ready to participate and learn, support by their families and communities, environment, healthy, safe, protective, gender-sensitive, and adequate resources. So, we have the quality in education. Content, relevant curricula and materials for the acquisition of basic skills, literacy, numeracy, life skills, knowledge, gender, health, nutrition, peace, HIV, AIDS, processes, teachers trained in learner-centered approach, and well-managed classrooms. Quality in education also is outcomes, knowledge, skills, attitudes, linked to national goals for education, positive participation in society. So, how about globally going back to our MDGs, Millennium Development Goals? What is MDG number 2? Achieve universal primary education. Did we attain our MDGs? Research it. On learning outcomes, it has been estimated that 38% of children are not learning the basics in reading and mathematics. Over one half of these children have spent 4 years in school. Untrained and supported teachers needed. 1.4 million new primary teachers needed in 2019 and over 3.4 million more be needed by 2030 such that 28 countries will not have enough primary school teachers by 2030. Furthermore, the average teacher salaries are below US $10 per day in 8 countries. In 1/3 of countries with data, less than 3/4 of existing teachers are trained to national standards. Quality in education must also be seen in terms of safety, textbooks, and equipment. In about a year's time, as of March 2015, the models have a total of 135 improvement teams or in increase also 4 times. In the distribution of CI projects per school, 742.52% is on reading, 141.10% is on school management, 47.3% is on science, 41.3% is on tardiness or dropout, 50.4% is on waste management, and 69.5% is others. Continuous improvement methodology. A methodology to continually assess, analyze, and act on the performance improvement of key processes, focusing on both customers' needs and the desired performance. CI methodology. Stage 1, assess, define the project. Continuous improvement methodology. First is the assess, second, analyze, and third is the act. Under assess, we have step 1, get organized. Step 2, talk with your customers. Step 3, walk the process. And step 4, identify priority improvement areas. Under analyze, step 5, do root cause analysis. Step 6, develop solutions. Step 7, finalize improvement plan. Step 8, pilot your solution. And step 9, roll out your solution. Step 10, check your progress. We provide you a very easy and straightforward approach on how to do this. It's 3 A's we did for us to remember it easily. What is the assess stage? Defines the objectives of the project and its respective measures from the perspective of the customers. Assess stage basically questions, how are we performing in the eyes of our customers? The assess steps. First, get organized, talk with your customers, walk the process, identify priority improvement areas. Under get organized, you have to CI project template. Then, we have the VOC, affinity diagram, defining the metric. Then, CPOC, process mapping, activity chart, deployment chart. Then, data collection plan, histogram, Pareto, and line chart. Assess, forming a team talking to your customers describing our current process. Number 1, Discuss the elements of forming a CI team. Highlight the identification of the needs of the customers. Emphasize that the process to be mapped is the ES-IS process. ESI is not always equal to what is documented. Discuss the importance of data in identifying the priority area. Establishing the continuous improvement CI teams. CI project template definitions. We have first the project title, name of the project, team leader and team members. Background, brief information, data and school issue, identify VOC and project scope. CI team structure. First, we have the school head, CI team leader, CI team members, and the CI facilitators. Example, the catalyst. So first, the CI team leader, facilitator, and then the scribe, communication officer, documentation officer, and the process observer. Team composition, creative and open-minded, good team players, well-respected among peers, stakeholders, and other school leaders. Team selection criteria. We have ideal team, size 5 to 8 person. Smaller team, size 3 to 4, work faster. Teams greater than 8 require additional facilitation and often require sub-teams. Example of project background. Based on the second periodic test result of the grade 6 pupils in Cabancalan Elementary School 1 for school year 2019-2020, math choose a low mean percentile score. Who are your stakeholders? The school head, CI facilitator, and CI team. Other stakeholders, process owners, students, parents, community, and etc. Process or owner. So the process owner, overall process, Department A, Department B, Department C, and Department D. Worries about overall process health, has responsibility and authority to manage and improve a process. Step 2. Talk with customers. Identify the different types of customers and their needs. Who are your customers? Individuals or groups who receive the product or service. Identifying our customers. In education, the primary customer is always the learner. Learners come and acquire knowledge, skills, and values. Learners help us understand what we need to provide and deliver to be successful in our goals. Remember, we also need to consider needs of internal customers, teaching staff, the admin staff, support service, and etc. External customers, suppliers, local government, parents, community, businesses, and etc. What is VOC? A qualitative statement or praise in the customer's language of their needs and wants. Example, voice of the customers. Ganahan ko kamao mo sukli kung dako ang kwarta. The other, voice of customers. Why VOC is important? Understand how parents, students, and or teachers define what is important from our products and services. Have an idea where to focus improvement efforts. Identify key drivers of parents, students, and or teachers' satisfaction. Get A baseline measure of parents, students, and/or teachers' satisfaction to measure improvement against. Identifies critical features and specifications for those products and services. Understand what parents, students, and/or teachers need and want. Affinity diagram features and how to create. Number 1. Gather ideas from interview, transcripts, questionnaires, and etc. Number 2. Transcript verbatim quotes onto index cards or self-stick notes. Next, group the cards to find the affinity and label the groups of cards. Optional, group the clusters. Affinity diagram uses helping grasp very large or complex issues, encouraging breakthrough thinking, finding patterns in mountains of data, gathering large amounts of language data, and organizing ideas, issues, opinions. That is the example of affinity diagram. Walk the process, step 3. What is the process? First, set of activities that are arranged together in order to deliver a product or service. Processes not equal to functions. That is an example of SIPOC template. Suppliers, the inputs, process, outputs, and the customers. Why map the process? Creates a common understanding about the process, clarifies steps in the process, helps identify improvement opportunities in the process, complexity, waste, delays, inefficiencies, and bottlenecks, helps uncover problems in the process, and helps reveal how the process operates. Process mapping example. First, we have preparation, next presentation, practice, assessment, and assignment. Introduction of new lesson, enhancing skills, giving of examples, application of new lesson, and then generalization. Singing of problem-solving song, posting of word problem, reading of word problem, giving of problem sample, problem-solving activity. What is a flow chart? A diagram that uses graphic symbols to depict the nature and flow of the steps in a process. Activity flow charts are specific about what happens in a process. They often capture decision points, rework loops, complexity, and etc.
The continuous improvement process in the Department of Education, a journey to excellence. Step 4. Identify priority improvement areas. What are storm clouds? Processes are not perfect. All processes will have storm clouds or pain points along the way. There are 5 characteristics of storm clouds. First, helps locate where the issues reside in the current process. Second, relevant to the background of the project. Third, specific. Fourth, observable or real. Fifth, measurable. Situating the storm clouds example. So this is the storm clouds example and its pain points. Prepare the lesson plan. Inappropriate ready-made lesson plans. Update or improve instructional materials. Extra effort. Poor classroom structure. Set classroom environment. Deliver instructions or reading lessons not geared to the enhanced curriculum. Evaluate pupils. Overlook test results analysis. Next is the data presentation. Presenting data involves the use of a variety of different graphical techniques to visually show the reader the relationship between data sets, to emphasize the nature of a particular aspect of the data, or to geographically place data appropriately on a map. There are three types of data presentation: histogram, Pareto chart, and the line graph. First is the histogram. A frequency plot shows the shape or distribution of the data by showing how often different values occur. So these are the examples of histogram. The final grades histogram for Chem 142 Section D. And another types of histograms, the dot plot and the stem and leaf plot. Another example of histogram of final course grade. What to look for in a histogram? The center of the data, the range of the data, comparison with the target, other irregularities, example, the outliers. What is histogram used for? Histogram is used to summarize discrete or continuous data. In other words, it provides a visual interpretation. This requires focusing on the main points, facts of numerical data by showing the number of data points that fall within a specified range of values, called bins. It is similar to a vertical bar graph. Next is the Pareto chart. The Pareto chart is a frequency distribution or histogram of attribute data arranged by category. It's a type of chart that contains both bars and line graph, where individual values are represented in descending order by bars and the cumulative total is represented by the line. These are the examples of Pareto chart. Pareto is used for, first, focusing on critical issues by ranking them in terms of importance and frequency. Second, prioritizing problems to efficiently initiate problem solving. Third, analyzing problems or causes by different groupings of data. Fourth, analyzing the before and after impact of changes made in a process. Fifth, basic quality tool that helps you identify the most frequent defects, complaints, or any other factor you can count and categorize. The last is the line graph. A line graph, also known as a line plot or line chart, is a graph which uses lines to connect individual data points that display quantitative values over a specified time interval. These are the examples of line graph. What is line graph used for? Line graphs are used to track changes over short and long period of time. When smaller changes exist, line graphs are better to use than bar graphs. Line graphs can also be used to compare changes over the same period of time for more than one group. And that would be all. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. I am Clarice Faith M.I. Tajo, currently teaching at A. Vizcayda Elementary School, General Santos City Division. I will be talking all about the second stage of continuously improvement methodology. Are you ready to listen? So here it is. So what is analyze stage? The analyze stage is focused on investigating and validating the reasons for a well-specified school problem or opportunity. We would like to generate appropriate solutions that addresses the requirements of the various stakeholders of the school. So from the word itself, analyze, this stage is where you are going to investigate and validate the problem stated in a specific school. So this stage has 3 steps, which are the root cause analysis, followed by develop solutions, and the third one is finalize improvement plans. Do root cause analysis. What is a root cause? It is the deepest underlying cause or causes of problematic symptoms within any process. If dissolved, would result in elimination or substantial reduction of the symptom. So you have it there on your screen, an example of a do root cause analysis, which entitled Focusing a Problem Definition. As you can remember, every school or in your school, there is what we call the AIP or Annual Implementation Plan, wherein the school head, the teachers, the stakeholders, and the SPG officers will be gathered together and talk about the problem of the school. So you have it there, the 3 sentences or 3 problems. As you have observed, these 3 problems are just almost the same. So the first problem or the first sentence is the canteen service is poor. Okay, that sentence is very broad. Okay, the second sentence is the cashier service of the canteen is talking too long. So it's quite narrow already because it's more specific than the first one. The third one is the cashier service of the canteen during class recess during Mondays takes 30 minutes to finish. So this third sentence is very narrow, very specific, in which it answers 5 questions, which is what? Poor service. What type of service? Cashier service. What about the service? It is too long. How long? 30 minutes. When is the problem the greatest? Recess time on Mondays. So this is an example of a root cause wherein you are going to know the depth cause of the certain problem. Another example is the fishbone diagram. It is a tool for facilitating the thought process in identifying the causes of a problem. Should start with a clear statement of the problem being dealt with. Causes are categorized for organization and analysis. So the fishbone diagram has 2 categories in the causes, which are the organization and the analysis. Another example of a root cause analysis is the fishbone diagram, and this diagram of fishbone has a problem, which is a bad week at the camp. As you can see, there are students, teachers, activities, camp facilities, outdoor conditions, and others. So obviously, these are the factors wherein it could be the reasons that affects the camp, why it became bad. So you have it there, the different branches wherein the cause of that problem is stated. As you can see, the arrow For the major branches, specific factors can be identified which becomes cause of the effects. Along these major branches, attach these as a sub-branches of the major branch. Okay, we have another example of a cause and effect. So you have there the method, the environment, the man, and the material. So these are again the factors, and as you can see, many branches where the causes and the effects are stated. So this diagram could help us to really determine the root cause of the problem of our school. Next, YY diagram. A YY diagram is a tree diagram where each child's statement is determined simply by asking why the parent occurs. So you have it there, a picture, wherein you are going to ask why, until again you reach the depth cause of a certain problem. Okay, you have there on your screen the 5 whys and mild deep thinking. You have there the different problem from A to M. And these whys have 5 questions. First, why did X happen? Because of W. Second, why did W happen? Because of V. Third, why did V happen? Because of U. Fourth, why did U happen? Because of T. And last, why did T happen? Because of S. So as you can see, classmates, these whys will surely lead you to a cause or the depth cause of a certain problem. You are going to ask why. For example, a while ago, the canteen has a very poor service. So why? Why it has a very poor service? Because lack of manpower. Why it has a lack of manpower, like that, until you reach the most or the bottom of the cause. Okay, another example of YY diagram is the issuance or the late issuance of the grades of our learners. So, grades are distributed to the students beyond the 7 days policy. Okay, so the reasons: there are teachers who are not concerned on the timely distributed of grades. Why do you think they are not concerned? Because there is no stated penalty for late submission. That's why. Another, the grades have to be approved by the vice principal. Why do you think it has to be approved by the vice principal? Because the vice principal is tasked to do another functions. Or the recording and computation of grades are done manually. So as you can see, these are the causes stated why the grades issued late. So really, YY diagram could help us also how to know the depth cause of a certain problem. When is a cause a root cause? Okay, when do we really know that that cause is already a root cause? Of course, it answers the following questions. Would the problem have occurred if the cause had not been present? Will the problem reoccur as the result of the same cause if the cause is corrected or dissolved? Will correction or dissolution of the cause lead to some similar events? So that ends my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you learned something about the second stage of the continuously improvement methodology, which is the analyze. God bless us all.
Hi everyone! This day, I will be presenting to you the continuous improvement process in the Department of Education, a journey to excellence. This is the continuation of the topics of my group mates, the validating causes. As you can see there, on my left side is the validating table. Okay, there is a table there as for you to be able to answer and to be validated. Now, generate and select solutions and to develop solutions. In developing solutions, you need to craft a SMART objective for your identified priority area. Remember, we should be SMART. Later, I will be explaining what is that SMART. So in activity 1, we'll go over on our root cause and your priority improvement area, trying formatting an objective statement. Okay, so as I said earlier, we must be SMART. S for specific. What do you want to specify? In the problems that we are encountering in our school, we must be first specific. Second, measurable. How will you know when you've reached it? Because we will measure how long would it take for a problem to be solved, and does it really measurable? Second, A, attainable. Is it on your power to accomplish it? Is the problem in your school really attainable, or are you able to attain to solve that problem? Next is realistic. Can realistically achieve it? Do you really realistically achieve the problems that you are encountering in your school? And next, time-bounded. When we are referring to time-bounded, does it really accomplishable in a year, in a day, in a month, or might be you're not in your school anymore? So, does it really a time-bounded solution to the problem? Next, we should avoid, kung may SMART, mayroon ding globe. So, first, G is for general, L for loose, O for obsolete, and B for big words, and the last is elastic, meaning in solving the problems, we must avoid to be general. We must be, remember, specific in finding solution to the problem. L, loose, which means, does the problem a loose? Or hindi ba exact ang pag-find ng solution? O, obsolete. Do you think that your problem is not new, or is it new? Might be the problem has already been solved by others. B, big words. Do not be referring to big words, because big words will result to greater problems. We must be specific. And lastly, it should not be elastic. In what I've said earlier, SMART, the sample statement objective is to increase the MPS in English for a range of 49.88 to 53.96 to 75 in 3 years. Do you think is the problem? Is it SMART? Okay, as you can see there, there's an indicator, MPS in English. So, that is specific. The problem there is we need to increase the MPS score of the learner, which is 49.88, the baseline, to 53.96 going to 75. Next, the target there is 75. And the period is 3 years, which means that it must be time-bounded. You must be specific. And lastly, increase. So what is your purpose in that? You are going to increase. So another sample objective statement, to reduce the number of identified grade 7 frustration readers by at least 15% or 10 out of the 64 students by the end of December 2013. So that is your sample objective. So given your objective with solution, should you came up with, number 2, what are your considerations in formulating solutions? So we're going to formulate solutions. Focus area. When we say focus area, we will find where, and what are we going to focus on the situation? As the same with the problem earlier, our focus is the reading ability of the learners, the grade 7 learners. Now, the root cause, what is the root cause of the low average of the learners in reading? Next is the solutions. And lastly, of course, if we already focused where is the problem, we will target what is the root cause. After that, we can find solutions to the problem. Now, in formulating solutions, do not forget the following tips. These are the following tips. Now, first, address the root cause. It is important that we should address the root cause or yung ugat ng problema para mahanapan natin ang solusyon. Because sometimes, if we have problems, we are away of the main cause of the problem. Next, within the control of the school, might be you are referring outside of the school where it is not your coverage. So, when we are finding solutions to the problem, it must be inside your school only because that is only your focus. Do not focus outside the barangay because there are other people who are concerned with those problems. Next, sustainable. Is the problem sustainable in finding solutions to the problem? Is it sustainable? Does it range for a years? Or for another few years, or it might be your solution for only 2 days. Next, economical. The question, it is important that in finding solution, it must be economical. Because kung may pera ka, if your problems needs money, paano mo solve ang problem kung wala kang pera? So in other words, if your solution to the problem is economical, may pera ka mo wala, you can solve the problem. Next, with support from the process owner. Ito na sinasabi natin kanina that outside the school, do not focus on it. Because there are supporters outside the schools that will support you in finding solutions outside. For example, parents. For example, another barangay officials. What we should do to connect with those people. Diba? Siyempre, we will make meetings with them so that we can find solutions outside of the problem in the school. There are types of solutions. Number 1, corrective versus preventive. When we say corrective, the problems that you already experience, you are going to correct what you have made in order to prevent what may happen. So in preventive naman, in preventive solutions, you'll never experience the problem and you are going to prevent it to be happening. So that is the difference between corrective and preventive. In corrective, you experience a problem and you are going to correct to find solutions in order not to experience the problem same again. So in preventive, you never experience a problem and you prevent that problem to happen. So next is short versus long term. Second, focus and broad. And lastly is single versus multiple. Now, general alternative solutions per root cause. First, adaptive corrective action and generate alternative preventive action. So, as what I've said earlier, that corrective action, you will create a corrective action in order to prevent that event to happen. So, if you already prevent that event to happen again, you made an alternative preventive action or the CA. Next, evaluate and select best alternative solutions. So, what will be the best alternative solutions to the problem? Because you created solutions per root cause. Next, identify details on the solution. So, basically, you are going to identify the details in the solution, identifying what is the very, very important solution to the problem. Draw an action plan. So, next, anticipate potential problems that might occur. So obviously, if we create solution to the problem, at the end of the solution to the problem, there will be a new creation of the problem. That is the circular process of problem. No? So you are creating solution to the problem, and after finding solution to the problem, expecting that after that, there will be a rising problem out of the solutions to the problem. And lastly, seek management approval. You are going to present the solutions to the management for an approval. Next, the basic concepts that govern the generations of solution. First, the process of simplification. Second, the visual management. 5S for good housekeeping. Next is Poka-yoke or mistake proofing. And fifth is creativity technique. So what is process simplification? When we say process simplification, from its term, simple. Making the process simple. So the meaning is breaking down the process into smaller tasks. The problems will be divided in each individual in the group, breaking it down. So next, classifying each task, whether it is necessary. After breaking the task, you are going to identify if the problems is very necessary, redundant, or useful. Meaning to say, if you already identified it, you are going to remove those redundant and wasteful solutions. So next, how to illustrate. First, a collaborative activity on math operation is a value-adding activity in teaching process for students because it produces housekeeping value ownership. So, ibig sabihin, when we are teaching in our classroom, math operations is very, very important. So, using collaborative activity in the learner so that they will learn the math operations. So, we use chunk activities to the learners. So, it means to say, this is a value-adding activity which is very important for the learners to learn. Next, copying lectures, notes, and erasing computational error on the board are examples of non-value-adding activities on the teaching process because such are wasteful actions that are not essential in making students learn math. So, ibig sabihin, when we are making lessons on the board and solving solutions, allowing the learners to solve solutions on the board, and if we can see that the learners made a wrong solutions, we erase it already. So, those actions is non-value adding activities to the learner. Next, visual management. When we say visual management, it is a technique that makes important information such as schemes, performance, targets, and accomplishments, monitoring boards, performance results, etc. visible to everyone concerned. So, this visual management is important in our school. Okay? More importantly, in our classroom. From its term, visual. We use visual illustrations in our classroom representing our data. For example, we represent those learners who are non-readers. We represent by graphs. So showing those, we are showing to others what is the reading ability of our learners in our school. So, next slide. So, study the illustration below. So, on my left, as you can see there, that there are two pictures, the figure 1 and the figure 2. The first question, which one conveys message faster? So of course, if you can see in figure 1, there are a lot of words. Fire, roof, so on and so forth. What will you observe on figure 2? You can see it already. It is burning. The house is burning. The roof is burning. So we already convey a message that the figure 2 is a burning house. Except, in figure 1, we cannot identify if it is burning. Now, a good visual system should let you know what is happening, what to do next, how to do the work, and how work will be done. So that is why it is very important that we have our transparency board in our school. We have all the data presented so that allowing the learners, allowing our stakeholders to see those data presented, and they will easily understand what we are going to portray to them. So, 4 W's and 1 H. So 4 W's on the left column, what is the solution? Number 1, tool guide. Be specific, exhaust all possible solution, don't be drastic. As much as possible, avoid solutions requiring capital investment. So, we must avoid capital investment, especially when finding solutions, because we cannot find solutions if we don't have money. So, if we avoid that, it means to say that our solutions is very effective. The 5 whys. Why did you select this solution? Why? That is the question. Why not another solution? Will this solve the problem? Number 2, where is the solution to be applied? Okay, the tool guide will be specific area for improvement. So, saan natin gagamitin yung ating na-find na solution to the problem? What specific area? Is it for reading, for feeding, for the attendance, or for what is the problem in our school? The 5 whys. Why this area? What about other areas? Now, next, number 3. When is the solution to be implemented? When we say when, that is referring to time. Is it time-bounded? The tool for Gantt, is it timetable? Using the Gantt chart. Later, I will explain what is Gantt chart. Next, activities with dates from start to finish, cost-benefit analysis. The 5 whys. Why this schedule? Why not make it sooner or later? Okay. Number 4, who is responsible? So, in the responsibility, Gantt chart will be the one that will display the person responsible. So, later again, I will explain what is that Gantt chart. Number 5 whys again. Why these persons or persons? Bakit siya? Are they capable of carrying out the solution? Is he capable of finding that solution? Kaya niya ba yung i-find ang solution? So, number 5, how is the solution to be implemented? Using the Gantt chart, we will present the activities. So, cost-benefit analysis. And then, why these activities? Why not less costly activities with more benefits? Those are questions. Next, so this is an example potential problem analysis. So, as you can see, the potential problem analysis is habitual absenteeism. We experience that in our classroom, in our school. Most of our learners, some of our learners are very have the habitual absenteeism. So, what must be most likely the cause? First, lack of parental supervision, probably. Number 2, difficulty in class. Because they have difficulty in understanding the lesson, they might came up to the solution to their problem that you will be absent on their class. Next, poverty. Of course, poverty is one of our great problem. Next, poor weather condition. That is mostly happening in rural, not only in rural but as well as in urban areas. Now, preventive action. What will be our preventive action to find solution to the problem of habitual absenteeism? Most of our solution to the problem is home visitation. Second, remediation. Then, supplementary feeding, reward, and merit system. Those are some only of the examples. So, what will be our target? It depends on you what will be your target. So, decision matrix sample of Sampaloc ES Project ABC. Okay, so that is their matrix in finding the solutions. So, in solution, involvement of the parents. Next is the enhancement of teachers' methodology and teaching strategies. Next is development of new instructional materials. Now, we will create, and we will solve which among has the greater value in total. So, note, in terms of cost, it's the opposite. The higher the cost, the lower the score. Which means to say, if the program is very expensive, the score will be lower, which is 1, and the lower expense will be 3. So in our legend below there is high for 3 points, medium for 2 points, and low for 1 point. So parent involvement, that is low because there's less cost, which means 3 times 5 equals 15. Result impact also high because it is 3 times 15 equals to 45. The probability, which is low. Why? Because not all parents will be involved. Because there are parents that will not involve themselves in the program. So that will be 1 times 10 equals 10. In total, that is 70 only. So next, the enhancement of teachers' methodology and teaching strategies. The medium in cost is 2 times 5 equals to 10. Which means to say that is average in the cost. Next is result impact, which 2 times 5 equals to 30. Medium for 2 times 10 equals to 20, which in sum of 60. Now, lastly, development of new instructional materials. Of course, when we are developing our instructional materials, expect nagagastos tayo for printing, for developing new materials. So, of course, ang ibibigay nating score ay 1 because napaka-expensive po yun. So, 1 times 5 equals 5. Now, the result impact. The result impact will be high because teachers will create their own instructional materials. 3 times 15 equals to 45. And the probability will be high also. 3 times 10 equals to 30, which in sum equals to 80. So, when we compare the 3 solutions, the higher in total will be development of new instructional materials, which is 80. So, the decision matrix would be development of new instructional materials, even that is very expensive. Now, future map. So, this is the process map. As you can see, the teacher comes to class. That's the current. When you say current, that's the practice of the teacher. Okay. Teacher erases blackboard content. Yun ang ginagawa mostly of the teacher. Erase. The next, teacher writes discussion notes on the blackboard. Magsusulat si teacher sa blackboard. And lastly, teacher starts discussion to the lesson. Now, that is the problem. Because napakatagal kung minsan magsulat si teacher, marami siyang isusulat sa board kung minsan nakukonsume ang time. So, using the solutions we had earlier, the future map, teacher comes to class. Second, teacher post visual aid on the board. Wala nang gagawing susulatin pa si teacher kung hindi ipopost niya na lang kung anong na-produce niya na visual aid. So therefore, after that, hindi na magkukopya si teacher. And lastly, the teacher will start discussion of the lesson. Okay, so reading intervention. Okay, if you have some time, please read all the contents there. Prepares focus skills and mood setting, reading, listening, and correction. That is the process details in current state, progress check, take-home task, and session recap. I will not further discuss this because it would consume so much time. So next, the sample of SIPOC, the suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and the customers. The reading teachers, the inputs will be the vocabulary, yun ang ituturo sa mga bata. Paano yung process? Modified reading intervention. Then the outputs will be comprehension check. So that will be the checking of the comprehension of the learner if our process for the reading intervention is really effective. Now, who are our customers? Of course, those are grade 7 students. Next slide, please. So, reading intervention, the same earlier. The legend, you can see there, the RT means reading teacher, RW, reading warriors, and RP, the reading protege. So, if you have some time, please read that reading intervention program. So, output check. So, let's check what your output earlier and what we've discussed earlier. We must create our SMART objective. Second, decision matrix as a creative approach in formulating solution. We must create a matrix in creating solutions to our problem. And next, future SIOP with improved process and steps, which was discussed earlier. Okay, so next slide. As you can see, that is a box. So, in finding solutions to the problems that we have in our school nowadays, no, we should not only focus where we are comfortable with. So, we must think outside the box. But remember, that it's all about the process. How we are going to do to find the solution and to think outside the box. And it's all about the customers and stakeholders. Let us remember that our customers is our learners. As a teacher, there are our learners, they are our stakeholders. The people in the community are our stakeholders and our customers. So, step 7, finalize improvement plan or FIP. Finalizing improvement plan, we will finalize what we have improved in our plan earlier. So, implementation plan is the process of redefining and refining tasks and resources required to implement the solution. For example, if we have the reading intervention in our school, in the finalizing improvement plan, we will finalize what are the involvement of the different tasks in our plan. Okay, so we find solutions required to implement it. Next, what are the activities, tasks, and subtasks required for the implement of the solutions in reading interventions of our schools? What are those activities? Can we define it? What are their tasks? What are those subtasks? Because after the task, there are subtasks. Are they required to implement the solution? What are those implementations? So, define the actual work or interventions to done in solving the process problem. Next, define the activities and tasks to be performed, including all activity tasks and details. So we must be detailed in presenting the solutions to the problem so that we can refine exactly what we really want in order to become successful in finding solutions to our problem. So, what planning and other pre-implementation work have to be done? So, those are the question. First, plan the resources needed to carry out the solution. So, we must plan what are those necessary resources we need for the solutions. Next, plan the pre-work to be done. Of course, we must to plan what we are going to do before at hand. So, CI improvement plan or the continuous improvement plan. So, the activity on the other side, the output target. What is the output target? What is the timeline? Starting date, the completion date, the reasons, the persons responsible, who are those persons responsible, and the resources needed. Ano yung mga kailangan nating resources? So next, the future state implementation plan. So this is the future. What is the activity? What will be the output? The persons responsible, the due date, and resources budget. Yun ang example niya kanina. So, this is what I am talking earlier. The project planning tools, the Gantt chart, the tree diagram, the planning grids, and the flow chart. The Gantt chart is a tool that illustrates a scheme. Gantt charts illustrate the start and finish dates of the implementation of the solution and summarizes the key elements of activities. For example, okay, that is the Gantt chart. On the first week, we are going to draw up current process up to second week, third, 4, 5, 6, and on 6, we have to remove non-value adding operations, so on and so forth. That is your Gantt chart for activities in discussing a lesson in your classroom. So that is an example of the Gantt chart. So, Project ABC. Okay. You can see there, in 14, prepare documentation that will be done in June. Next. Okay, in June. So, next will be the step 7. If IP aims to prepare on how to effectively carry out and finalize improvement plan as well as anticipate problems. So, in our future improvement plan, we will anticipate what will be the problems that will arise, that will be another arising problems out of the solutions to the problem. So, risk management process. A risk process or risk management process describes the steps you need to take to identify, monitor, and control risk. This is very important because there are always a risk in finding solutions. How are you going to control the risk out of the solutions that you made? Within the risk process, a risk is defined as any future event that may prevent you to meet your team goals. So, a risk process allows you to identify each risk, quantify the impact, and take action on how to prevent it from occurring and reduce its impact. So, risk management migration plan. You can see there, that is the risk management migration plan. Preparing for whatever might happen. So, critical activities, basic CI training. Ano yung mga identified risk? Ano yung possible na magiging impact? Ano yung magiging preventive actions nila? And what will be the remedial actions? Okay? Risk management, identify problems to your solutions. As what I have said earlier, you first identify what problem may arises out of the solution to your problem. So, determine the likelihood of their occurrences. Take steps to avoid or deal with likely problems in order to have higher chances of success. Identifying what might arises to your solution to the problem will make the solutions of your problem become successful. Okay, so risk analysis, L for likelihood, I for impact, RF or the risk factor. You can see there the potential problem, the probable cause, where L is the likelihood and I for the impact and RF for the risk factor. What will be the preventive action? You can see there. So next, school system and operation risks. These are the risks in our school. Major increase in cost budget needs. That will be the problem. If you have the solution to the problem, mag-i-increase ba yung pangangailangan ng pera at makalalaki ang budget? Next, involvement of the student community requirements. Kailangan ba ng involvement of the students? Probably, yung mga students will not be anymore involved. Baka mag-a-absent sila. Community requirements. Does the community required in the solution to the problem? Baka yung community hindi na rin pupunta sa inyo, will not support you anymore. That will be the risk. Second, poor school measures. Ano yung magiging intervention sa school? Baka mahina yung naging gawang intervention. Next, too long for a timetable for implementing school changes. Baka masyadong mahaba ang solusyon ng problems ninyo. Next, critical educational system component, unclear foundation of school strategy. Hindi klaro yung strategies na meron na i-describe nyo sa inyong solutions. Readiness and complement of the school. Baka hindi prepared ang school ninyo sa gusto nyong mangyari. Now, next, Project planning risk. This will be the risk in planning the project. Complex task discrepancies. Merong discrepancies because there is a complex task. Maraming masyadong ginagawa. Hindi malaman kung ano ang dapat kailangang unahin. Now, critical implementation date. Hindi natin alam what will be the date to implement the activity. Informal project control procedures. Next, unrealistic implementation target dates. Hindi naging realistic ang iyong implementation dates. Low commitment of a team and stakeholders. Ito yung problem natin. If we lose support from our team and our stakeholders, that will be a great problem. And lastly, resources not available during the implementation. Baka yung resources is not available during your implementation. Baka mag-implement ka ng feeding program during bakasyon na wala yung mga bata. So, that will be your problem. Now, review. School and stakeholders risk. Unrealistic expectations, the regional office, students, parents, teachers, administrators, and etc. Student, physical, and cultural changes needed by the school. Resistance to change by the school and its stakeholders. Extensive training and education of school stakeholders. Next. Now, review. School external risk. So, this is the risk of our external school involvement. So, is there a poor supplier support? Might be the supplier support is very poor. Is the project critical development outside of the school control? Might be the control is not in the school. Could other projects implement the school initiative? And lastly, is the project overlapping with other school projects? Okay, now closure. As what Benjamin Franklin said, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. I hope you understand what I have discussed earlier about how are we going to improve and to find solutions to the problem arising in our school. So again, I am Alner A. Adulacion. I discussed to you the process in finding solutions to the problem that are arising in our school. Thank you and good day, everyone.
Hello everyone, I am Maureen Labrador Baswell, teaching in Virginia Taniedo Garcia Elementary School, East Maitum District, Maitum, Sarangani Province. My task for today is to discuss to you the third phase of the continuous improvement, which is the ACT phase. Join me as we discover how important is the phase for the implementation of the continuous improvement or CI. Stage 3 ACT. What is the ACT stage? The ACT stage focuses on testing the agreed ideas through a pilot. The results of the test are compared to the previous results. Change management plans are created in preparation for the deployment of the verified solution to the entire school. ACT phase, test your solution, testing, cost-benefit analysis, roll out your solution, change management, communication plan, standardization and documentation, training. Check your progress, tracking, monitoring, reviews, and follow-ups, project closure. Why test solutions? Improve the solution, understand risk, validate expected results, smooth implementation, facilitate buy-in, identify previously unknown performance problem, drill using peer coaching, and remedial reading. Why test solutions? Improve the solution, understand risk, validate expected results, smooth implementation, facilitate buy-in, identify previously unknown performance problems, Drill using pair coaching. Remedial program. When to test solution. You need to confirm the expected results and practicality of the solution. You want to reduce the risk of failure. The scope of the change is large and reversing the change would be difficult. Implementing the change will be costly. Change would have far-reaching, unforeseen consequences. Some critical issues in planning a test of solution. Where to test? What school area or grade level? How do we ensure that the full range of process conditions is tested? What needs to be measured? When? Where? How to minimize disruptive impacts on the school scheduled or student learnings while ensuring the validity of the testing. How to evaluate the result of the test. Evaluate the test results. Compare results, future and current state. Recalculate histogram, Pareto line chart. Analyze causal relationships and process conditions. Cost-benefit analysis. Comparing the total expected cost of each option against the total expected benefits to see whether the benefits outweigh the cost and by how much. Here are the steps. 1. Measure the benefits. 2. Identify all cost components. 3. Compare and assess with the stakeholders. Check progress, monitor progress, standardize and plan for the next improvement. Why do we monitor solution or check the progress? Why do we monitor solution? To ensure consistency, compliance, identification of waste, and sustain. It is important to monitor both how the activities are being conducted and the results generated by these activities. These have to compare to the standardized procedures and target performance levels. What you need to check? We have to check the results, gather data on the same measures identified in assess stage. Use the same data collection procedures. Next is methods. Document what steps are actually followed during implementation. In evaluating the results, how much was the gap between desired and actual reduced in your project? Were the plans effective in addressing the causes you targeted? What do customers tell you now that the changes are in place? Has enough progress been made or do you need to go back and try another solutions? Were the unintended benefits or negative side effect? What do you mean by project closure? Project closure means turning over the monitoring and evaluation role back to process owners. These are the importance of closure. Recognize the considerable time and effort that went into the initiative. Capture the learning from the initiative about the problem or process being studied, about the improvement process itself, and hand over responsibilities for standardization and monitoring to the appropriate people. Recognize the considerable time and effort that went into the initiative. Why is it important to conduct closure? How did you do it in your school CI teams? Final note on project closure: continuous improvement, managerial systems, documentation, and recognition. Improvement must be continuous, but individual initiatives and project teams come to an end. Learn when it's time to say goodbye. Develop managerial system to capture learning and enable the organization to address system issues. Documentation and recognition are two critical aspects of project team closure. The Deming Cycle of Improvement, the PDCA: first, plan, do, check, and act. These are the continuous improvement 10 steps process. Step 1, get organized. 2, talk with customers. 3, walk the process. 4, identify priority improvement area. 5, do root cause analysis. 6, develop solution. 7, finalize improvement plan. 8, pilot solution. 9, roll out solution. And 10, checked. These are the analysis. What were your results? What factors contributed to your results? Who emerged as leaders? What could you do differently next time? What does this mean in terms of quality? How is this similar to what you experience in your schools? If your action inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Thank you.